channel, we may invest that money in the stock market. We may invest that money in the stock market. We may invest that money in the bank. We may investment in the mutual funds. Then that money gives more return instead of keeping that money in the bank, or instead of keeping money within our within. Okay. ଯଦି ଆମ ନିଜ ପାଖରେ ରଖୁଛନ୍ତି କିମ୍ବା ବ୍ୟାଙ୍କରେ ରଖୁଛନ୍ତି ଆମକୁ କମ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ମିଳିବ. Even if we invested that money in the different sources, it may be the stock market, mutual fund, then we may get more returns in comparison to keeping money within themselves, or keeping or invest or opening a saving account in a certain commercial bank. Okay. Supply of money refers to the total quantity of money in the country for all purposes at any time. The total quantity of money that is available for all purposes at any time. So the supply of money is a function of the rate of interest. Supply of money is a function of rate of interest. It is considered to fixed by monetary authority. Who is monetary authority? Your RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, is considered as a monetary authority. That is the supply of money taken as perfectly inelastic. Supply of money is taken perfectly inelastically. That is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay. The supply of money in an economy determines the policy of the government. It determines the policy of the government. What is the policy? That is a monetary policy. Monetary policy is formulated by the Reserve Bank of India, or you can say the central bank of your country. The supply of money is not affected by the interest rate. Hence, the supply of money remains constant in the short period. Obviously, the supply of money remains constant in the short period. Okay, only in short period. Then comes to the how interest rate determination took place. Here, the interest rate determination took place between the liquidity preference function, the demand for money, and the supply of money. Okay. Here, the rate of interest is shown in the y-axis, money supply shown in the x-axis. OR is the equilibrium rate of interest. Okay. OR is the liquidity rate of interest. The theory further states that any change in the liquidity preference, any change in the liquidity, what is LP? LP is the liquidity preference. Any change in the liquidity preference function, change in the money supply, if there is any change in the liquidity preference, or change in the money supply, or change in both, respectively changes the rate of interest. If there is any changes in the supply of money, or demand for money, or the liquidity preference function of money, then it will obviously it leads to the changes in the rate of interest. Okay. Then comes to the figure OO. Then comes to the right side of the figure 1 and figure 2. It is given that the money supply, the money supply liquidity preference LP. What is LP? Is the liquidity preference curve. It is given that the money supply, the liquidity preference curve LP shifted from LP1 to LP2. Here, LP1 shifted to LP2, implying that there by increase in the demand for money. Why? Liquidity preference curve shifting from LP1 to LP2, because
लेटर गुड़ा देखा जाऊनी बहुत छोटो अछि.
hello. Hello.
Yes, the size of the letters is very small size, not visible. The what is written it down. Money supply or money what's in second diagram.
Okay. I got it. Is it clear right now?
Yes, sir, much better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Here, look at this figure. It is given the money supply liquidity preference curve LP. What is LP? LP1 liquidity preference, implying that there is increase in the demand for money. When the demand for money is increases, which that's why the LP liquidity preference curve is shifted from LP1 to LP2. That's why the rate of interest is increased from the over 2 to over 1. Okay. Similarly, when the money supply rises, when the money supply rises, here the money supply remain constant. When the money supply rises, look at this right side of the figure. Uh, Rises from OQ1 to OQ2. When money supply rises from OQ1 to OQ2, rate of interest fall from OR1 to OR2. Why rate of interest fall? Because there is a increase in money supply from OQ1 to OQ2, and the demand for money or things the liquidity preference curve is remain constant. Okay, is this your liquidity preference theory is over? Anyone having any doubt? Your block 3 is also over, and we can move to block 4. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then move to block 4. In block 4, we'll understand what is national income. Block 4 and block 5 basically is a macroeconomic portion, and block 1, block 2, block 3 is a microeconomic portion. In block 4, we'll understand what is national income. We'll understand what is national income, a measurement of national income accounting, consumption function, investment function. Okay, demand and the supply of money. Okay, let's get started. First in your under block 4 unit 11, we have national income accounting. Okay, first we should understand what is national income. What is national income? National income refers to total monetary value. It refers to the total monetary value of all goods and services. Total monetary value of all goods and services produced by a country over a specified period. Over a specified period, usually 1 year. Here, year means the financial year. You know, what is the duration of financial year? Anyone? What is the duration of financial year? Anyone having any idea about the
31st
financial year?
March.
Very good. Financial year starts from 1st April and it ends in 31st March. Currently, we are in 2025-26 financial year. We have already completed 2024-25 financial year.
Yes.
Currently, we are passing for the 2025-26 financial year. Or 2025-26 financial year started from 1st April 2025, and it is going to end at 2026 31st March. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Under the concept of national income, we have the terms like GDP, GNP, NNP, national income factor cost, personal income, disposable income. These are the concepts. What is GDP? Anyone having any idea about GDP? GDP is the total market value. It's the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a country in a given year. When I'm talking about given year, means the financial year. And what is GNP? GNP is the GDP net factor income upload. Those Indian persons, those who are engaged in out of our countries, they're sending that money to our countries. That is known as the net factor income from abroad. Then what is NNP? Net national product. NNP, GDP minus depreciation. NNP. What is NNP? NNP is the GNP minus depreciation. What is depreciation? The value of goods and services are reduced after a period of time. That is depreciation. Okay. Then comes to the national income accounting. National income accounting is a government bookkeeping system. It is a double entry bookkeeping system. Okay. From both credit side as well as from debit side. National income accounting is a government bookkeeping system that measures the country's economic activity. You know, economic activity. What is that? Economic activity is something that process. Economic activity is something that done because in order to get certain amount of income. Okay, if you are voluntarily doing something, that is considered as non-economic activity. If you are engaged in certain activities that generate certain amount of income after a period of time, that means you are engaged in a economic activity. The system will include the total revenue by domestic corporation, wastage and sales, income tax data for the companies. This system, the national income accounting system, includes domestic corporation, wastage, sales, and income tax data for the companies. National income accounting system allows countries to assess the current standard of living. This accounting system allows to measure the current standard of living, how people are living, what is their income, what is their expenditure. Okay. Okay, here it is written the national income is the total amount of income accruing to the country from the economic activities, from all type of economic activities during a year. It includes the payment made to all the resources in the form of wage. Here we are making payment to the laborers as wage. We are making interest as a payment to the capital. We are making payment as rent to the landowner. Here the profits that goes to the entrepreneurs. The progress of country can be determined by the growth of the national income of the country. How we can measure the progress of a country? The progress of a country can be determined by the growth of the national income of the country. There is a news called where the India surpassed Japan. Okay, currently India possesses the fourth largest economy in the world. Currently, India possesses the fourth largest economy in the world.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Then how we can measure this? By calculating the national income, by analyzing the national income, by assessing the national income from time to time. That is it. In order to calculate the national income, we have set a financial year. That here we are measuring the all economic activities that took place during that particular financial year. Okay, repeating once again, the financial year starts from 1st April and it ends in 31st March. Then comes to the next slide. Okay, this is over. There are three methods to calculate national income. Anyone having an idea about the calculation of national income method? What are the methods to calculate national income?
No, sir.
First one is the production method. Here you can say the output method. The second one is the income method. Third one is the expenditure method. Under production method, we are calculating the money value of all final goods. We are calculating the monetary value of all final goods and services produced in an economy. Here, economy is economy. Here, economy is the financial system of a country. Okay, and economics and how it is different from economics. Economy is the financial system of a country. Here we are talking about Indian economy, US economy, economy. We are talking about the financial system of India, financial system of Pakistan, system of US. Okay, and economics. Economics is theoretical discipline where we are studying the production, consumption of goods and services. Okay. Here we are measuring the national income through three methods. First is the production method, income method, and the expenditure method. Production method is also considered as the output method. It calculates the monetary value of all final goods and services produced in an economy. Under production method, we are calculating all monetary value of all goods and services during a particular year. Then comes to the income method. Under income method, here we are adding all the income earned by factors of production. Here we are adding all the income that is earned by the factors of production. That may be the interest or that may be the profit. When we are adding all the income of all the factors of production, then we can calculate the national income. Okay. Then the last one is the expenditure method. What is that? First, we have calculated national income through the production method, how much we are producing. And in the second method, we have calculated the national income by the income method. Okay, we are here in the second method, we have added the income of all the factors of production. And third one is the expenditure method. Here we are adding the spending of all spending on final goods and services. Here we are adding the total spending on final goods and services, that consumption, investment, government expenditure, net export. What is net export? Export minus import. That is net export. Okay. Obviously, the national income serves as an indicator of the nation's economic activity. It can be calculated by the three methods which I have already discussed. Income method is mainly based on the income generated by the factors of production such as labor, land, capital, and the entrepreneurs. Expenditure method is based on the investment. What is investment? What is investment? Anyone? What is investment? Addition made to the stock of capital. That is investment. And what is consumption? That is consumption. Consumption is the destruction of utility. Consumption means the destruction of the utility. Through the production process, we are creating the utility. So the consumption process, we are destroying the utility. What is utility? The unsatisfied capacity of a commodity. Okay. Then comes to the formula of net income. Here, C plus G plus I plus X plus F minus D. Everybody should remember this formula. What is C? C is the consumption. What is G? G is the government expenditure. What is government expenditure? Government expenditure may be some productive expenditure, non-productive expenditure. What is productive expenditure? Investment on the social welfare, investment on the road, investment on education, health sector. That is productive expenditure. Unproductive expenditure, the defense expenditure is considered the unproductive expenditure. Okay. I, what is I? I denotes the investment. X denotes the net export. How much we are inputting and how much we are exporting. Right? Here we are export is subtracted by the input. Okay. Then we'll get the net export. Export minus input. F denotes the national residence foreign production. Okay. The D denotes the non-national resident domestic production. F denotes the factor income from abroad. F denotes the factor income from abroad, and D denotes the non-national residents domestic production. Those who are non-Indian, those who are non-Indian settled in our country, they are also generating certain amount of income, and they are sending their income to their countries. That is considered as the D. Okay. What is F? F is the net factor income from abroad. Those persons who are very simple can remember the NRI income, non-resident Indians. They're sending their hard-earned money to our countries. That is also known as the net factor income from abroad or the foreign remittance. Okay. GDP, we have already discussed. GDP is the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a particular financial year. Okay. Then comes to the GNP. GNP, GDP, we have already discussed on Parisarsati. Details down. Okay. Then comes to the NDP. What is NDP? Net domestic product. At market price, that is abbreviated as NDP, is a gross domestic product GDP minus the consumption of fixed capital. You know, how can we calculate NDP? GDP minus the consumption of fixed capital, or you can say the depreciation. Okay. What is depreciation? The wear and tear of capital. Suppose you have purchased a mobile phone right now with if the price is 15,000. After 5 years, after 1 year, the value of your mobile phone will not remain 15,000. The value of your mobile phone will definitely decrease. That is known as the depreciation. Okay. Okay. Here we have taken some example. NDP, unlike GDP, also take into account the decrease in the value of fixed assets. Yes, that is a fixed asset. The computers, building, transport equipment, machinery used in the production process. These are the fixed assets. The value of the fixed assets decreasing after a period of time. Okay, one what is the formula for NDP? GDP minus consumption of the fixed capital, or you can simply say GDP minus depreciation. When you are uh, subtracting depreciation from the GDP, you will get NDP. Then comes to the NNP. What is NNP? GNP minus depreciation. GNP minus depreciation is known as the LNP. Here, LNP is all value of goods and services produced by country resident minus the country resident minus the depreciation of capital of goods. Capital goods. Here are capital goods. Those goods which are in those goods. Capital goods are those goods which are used in production. Okay. Net national product and market price. Net national product market price. What is that? Gross national product minus depreciation. Yes. What is the formula? Formula to calculate NNP, GNP minus depreciation. Okay. Then comes the methods of measuring net income in details. First, we'll understand the income method. This method calculates net income by adding all the income earned by individual businesses in a country during a given period. Here we are adding the income of all the persons. Here we are adding the income of all the persons, those who are engaged in an economic activity during a particular period. Period means one financial year. This includes the wages, salaries, profit, interest, and rent. Here we have included the income for all the factors of production. Then comes to the production method. This method calculates net income by adding the total value of goods and services produced in a country during a given period. Here we are adding all the value of goods and services produced within a country during a given period. Means one financial year. Okay. The financial year may vary from country to country. Okay. And in India, what is the financial year in India? That may not be the financial year for the other countries. Okay. Then comes the expenditure method. This method calculates net income by adding of all the spending on goods and services within a country during a given period. Here we have taken into account all the spending. We are taking into account of all the expenditure. This includes the consumer spending, government spending. Government spending means the government expenditure, public expenditure. What is public expenditure? Public expenditure means public expenditure are those expenditure which are undertaken by public authorities to satisfy collective wants. Okay. Investment spending, capital expenditure, construction of road, construction of building, construction of school, college, hospital. That is capital expenditure. Okay. Construction of a new PSU, PSU, public sector undertaking. Then comes to the consumption function. Okay. Consumption function shows the relation between consumption and various level of income. Here we will analyze the consumption and the various level of income. How income determines the consumption? As you know, 10 psychological law of consumption. When income increases, consumption simultaneously increases. Here C equal to C0 plus BY. We will understand this is the function of the consumption function. C0 equal to C0 BY. Okay. What is autonomous consumption? Under this consumption, we have two concepts: autonomous consumption and induced consumption. It means that the level of consumption is independent of the changes in income. It means that the level of consumption is independent of the changes in income. Consumption is not dependent on the change in income. That is fully independent. This is the amount of consumption which will take place even if when the consumer income is zero. Autonomous consumption is something that is independent from the changes in the income, and the consumption process will continue even if when the income of the consumer is zero. Consumer will consume certain amount of goods and service in order to survive. Okay. In this equation, C0 is considered as the autonomous consumption. Here, C0 is considered as autonomous consumption. BY is considered as represented as the induced consumption. Okay. It means that What is DY? DY is the induced consumption, just opposite to autonomous consumption. It means that the level of consumption which change with the changes in income is the it is fully dependent on the income. Or induced consumption is fully dependent on the income. It means that the level of consumption the level of consumption changes with the changes in the income. When income changes, it leads to changes in consumption, which is considered as the induced consumption. As income rises, consumption also rises. In the equation, dy represents induced consumption. C is the consumption function, or you can say the total consumption. C0 is the autonomous consumption. dy is the induced consumption, which is dependent on the income, and C0 is the autonomous consumption, which does not depend on the income of the consumer. Are you getting my points? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then comes to the Keynes psychological law of consumption. John Maynard Keynes has explained the consumption behavior of household sector for the psychological law of consumption. Okay. In his general theory of employment, interest, and money, that is published in 1936. 36. Okay. The general theory of employment, interest, and money, that is published. This theory is known as the general theory, and this theory was published in the year 1937. With this, in his great work, the general theory of employment, interest, and money, he has given emphasis to the psychological law of consumption. According to psychological law of consumption, when income of a person increases, consumption of that person increases simultaneously. Okay, since use of term psychology in its law, in his law, it is not really the law of psychology or psychological behavior. It is just a basic observation of consumer behavior. Here we have not since we are talking about the behavior of the consumer, that's why I can use the term psychology. But it is not a core psychology law. It is an economics law. Okay. Since we are talking about the behavior of the consumer, as you are all are rational, when income increases, our consumption simultaneously increases. Suppose someone is earning 30,000 per month. When his income increases to 50,000, he will definitely think about to expand his he will definitely think about to expand his consumption. He may take a he may shift from a lower rented house to to 3 BHK rooms. Okay. Okay. Uh he may uh switch from and what is that? He may switch from public transport to private transport. He may purchase his new car. Okay. According to John Lord Maynard Keynes, current consumption depends on the current disposable income. What is disposable income? Disposable income is something that is after tax income. Okay, that is after tax income. Disposable income is that income is in the hand of the consumer. Okay, a rise in the income leads to the rise in the consumption, and fall in consumption leads to fall in okay, a rise in income leads to rise in consumption. Fall in income leads to fall in consumption. Okay, this is this is the type mistake here. Fall in income leads to fall in consumption. Okay. In simple words, the aggregate consumption is a function of aggregate disposable income. Okay. Then what is the assumption of this law? It assumes that constant psychological and institutional complex. Here we have assumed that constant psychological and institutional complex. This law is based on the assumption that psychological and institutional complex increasing consumer expenditure remain constant. Okay. Here we have taken into the psychological behavior of the consumer. It assumes the existence of a normal condition that holds good. So it assumes that the existence of normal condition. There is no under the normal condition this law can work. Okay. If, however, the economy faced with abnormal and extraordinary circumstances like war, revolution, hyperinflation, the law will not operate. In the extraordinary circumstances like war, revolution, hyperinflation is something that is a rapid inflation. Okay, law will not operate. Deep depression type. These are the extraordinary circumstances. This law cannot work. Look at this table. Here we'll understand this law through the three propositions. When income is 0, consumption is 20. When income is 0, consumption 20. What is 20? 20 is your autonomous consumption. Okay. When income increases to 60, consumption is also increases to 70. Okay. Consumption increases to 70. Income 60, consumption 70. And the here the minus what is the saving? Minus 10. Okay. When incomes double 60 to 120, consumption is increases to 120. Okay. And income 120, consumption 120, saving is 0. When income is increases from 240 to 300, consumption is increases to 220 to 270. Okay. When income again increases 300 to 360, consumption increases from 270 to 320, and saving is 40. Okay. Look at this first proposition. Income increased by 60 crores. Here we have taken this 6 crores. Okay. Crores. And then the increase in consumption by 50 crores. Here, where the income is increases by 60 crores. Here, in the initial period, the income is 0, consumption is 20. When income increases 0 to 60, then consumption increases to 70. Consumption increases 20 to 70. Then how much changes in consumption is there? 70 minus 20, 50 crore. Okay. Consumption expenditure, however, increasing rate. It's 170, 220, 270, 320 against the 120, 240. What is 180? What is 180, 240, 300, 360? These are the income. 170, 220, 270, 320. These are the consumption. In the second proposition, the increase in income from 60 crore, increase in income of 60 crore in each case is divided in the same proportion, consumption and the saving. Again, it is divided in the consumption and saving 15 crore. When income is increases 0 to 60 crores, and it is divided into two categories. First one is the consumption, the second one is the saving. 50 crore is for the consumption and 10 crore for saving. When as income increases from 120 to 180, 120 to 180, 240, 300, consumption also increases to 120, 170, 220, 270, 320 crores, along with the increase in saving, which leads to increase in saving from 0 to 10, 10, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 crores. Okay. Look at this table. How income increases leads to increase in consumption as well as increase in saving. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear to everyone? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then comes to the diagram. Here, the horizontal axis shows the income and the vertical axis shows the consumption and saving. Okay. Diagrammatical, three propositions are explained in the figure. Here, income is measured on the horizontally. Here we have income is measured in the horizontal axis, consumption saving measured on the vertical axis. C is the consumption function. What is C? This is the C. C is the consumption function. And the 45-degree line represents income. This line, 45-degree line represents income. C is consumption. Okay. And what is Y? Y is the income. And what is C and S? CS is the consumption and saving. In the proposition 1, when income is increases from OY0 to OY1, where income is increases from OY0 to OY1, consumption also increases from BY0 to consumption is also increases from BY0 to C1Y1. When income is increases from OY0 to OY1, consumption is increases from BY0 to C1Y1. Okay. But the increase in consumption is less than the increase in income. Increase in consumption is less than the increase in income because there is a saving. C1Y1. C1Y1 is less than A1Y1. Obviously, C1Y1, this is the less than the A1Y1 and A1, Y1. Okay. And with, how much is greater than A1, C1? That is the saving. This is the consumption. C1, Y1 is consumption. A1, C1 is the saving. Then comes the proposition 2. When income is increases from OY1 to OY2. Here income is increases again OY1 to OY2. It is divided the same proportion between the C1, Y1, C1, Y1, C2, Y2. Again, it is divided the same proportion C1, Y1, C2, Y2, and the saving A1, C1, A2, C2 respectively. When income is increases from OY1 to OY2, it is divided in the same proportion as the consumption saving C1, Y1, A1, C1, C2, Y2, A2, C2. Then comes to the third proposition. Increase in income from increase in income from OY1 to OY2 leads to increased consumption. When income is increases from OY1 to OY2 leads to increase in consumption. Here, consumption is increases from C to Y2. C to Y2 when leads to increase in consumption C to Y2. C to Y2 is always greater than the C1 Y1. When income is increases from OY1 to OY2, consumption is increases C to C1 Y1 to C2 Y2. Okay. And increase in saving. That's why saving is also increases. When income increases, saving will increase. Here the saving is A to C2 is greater than the saving A1 C1. Okay. Why this is happening? Because there is increase in income. It is clear from the widening the area between the below the curve C and the saving gap between 45-degree line C curve. When income will increase, consumption will increase, and the saving will increase. Is it clear to everyone? I hope all the three proposition 1, proposition 2, proposition 3 is understood by everyone. Yes or no? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then comes the demand for money. Demand for money is affected by several factors, including the level of income, interest rate, inflation. What is inflation? Persistent rise in the prices of goods and services. Okay. Is affected by the several factors, including the level of income. Demand for money is affected by the level of income, interest rate, inflation, as well as the uncertainty about the future. That is precautionary motive. The way in which these factors affect money demand is usually explained in terms of three motives. We have already discussed these things: demand for money, transaction motive, precautionary motive, and the speculative motive. Under discussion करथिले liquidity preference theory discussion करछन्ते transaction motive, precautionary motive, speculative motive. What is transaction motive? Transaction motive for demanding money arises from the fact that most transactions involve exchange of money. We are a typical individual will demand for money in order to meet his day-to-day expenses, in order to make day-to-day transactions. The total number of transactions made in an economy tend to increase over time as income rises. When income increases, as you know, according to psychological law of consumption will rise, and when income rises, we can conclude that when income rises, transaction is also rises. People often demand money as a precaution against uncertain future. Future is uncertain. Okay, what will happen after 1 hour? That is not known. Okay, future is always uncertain. We can make prediction, we can make forecast, but that may happen, that may not be happen. Unexpected expenses such as medical, there may be medical emergency, job loss, often require immediate payment. In order to meet this type of uncertainty, we need to have certain amount of money. You know, there are two accounts of the government. There are two. One is contingency fund, another is consolidated fund. Contingency fund is something that is kept in order to meet some unforeseen expense like your COVID. आमर जो कोविड-19 हेतिला आमर कोन कंटिजेंसी फंड रो आमर एक्सपेंडिचर हेतिला अनसर्टेन फ्यूचर से वार हैला पैंडेमिक हैला एसो कोन कंटिजेंसी फंड रे सेंति आमे पे हाउस होल्ड निजे हाउस होल्ड पे किछि टंका प्रिकॉशन मोटिव रे रखि थाए इन टू मीट द फ्यूचर अनसर्टेनिटी speculative money speculative motive money like others stores value of an asset. The demand for an asset depends on the both the rate of return and opportunity cost. Some people forecast that the value of money so if I invested so and so will I will get more returns in the future. That's why people demand for money. Typically, money holding provide no rate of return. Suppose you hold certain amount of money, you will get zero return. If you invest that money, if you invest that money, then you will get high return. The opportunity cost of holding money is the interest rate that can be earned by lending or investing one's money holding. Instead of holding money, if you can invest that money in different channel, will get more returns. The speculative motive for demanding money arises in the situation where holding money is perceived to be less risky than the alternative lending money or investing in some other asset. If you invest in different channel in different productive way, you will definitely get more return. Okay. Then in the next class, we'll understand money supply, different components of the money supply. Uh, what is M1, what is M3, M4. Okay. Okay. Anyone having any doubts so far? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we should stop here. Tomorrow we'll discuss the remaining portion of block 4. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Have you collected your the slide? Have you seen or not? Have you got my slide?
No, sir.
I have sent your group yesterday.
No, sir. We have not received.
Ask to Roshi madam now. ଏବେ ଫୋନ କରି ପଚାର ଯେ ସାର୍ ତ ପଠେଇ ନାହାନ୍ତି ପଠେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତି।
Sir.
Then we will discuss the question.
Sir, madam phone उठुनाहांती.
ଉଠୁନାହାନ୍ତି?
ନା.
ଠିକ ଅଛି। Is it visible?
Sir.
Visible?
Yes, sir.
Solve this problem. I will solve 3-4 questions today. Yesterday I told you I am giving different questions and you solve it. Amulya,
Sir.
have you seen the question?
Yes, sir.
Solve it. नंदिनी
क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करियो
नंदिनी Alisa,
Yes, sir.
you solve this problem. What is your hypothesis? Anyone? What is your hypothesis? Barnali? I am audible or not?
Yes, sir.
What is the hypothesis? You tell me first in this question. This is a one sample or two sample test? This is a one sample test or two sample test? Anyone?
It is one sample state.
Why one sample test? Sample गुटे दिया बोल ना कड़ा? अरे sample गुटे दिया बोले कौन one sample test? What is the mu value? Mu value कते?
72, 78, 69, 75.
Mu value.
Mean value na sir.
Mean value ने mu value.
Oh, mean value.
Population mean. 75? ताले mu alternate hypothesis कते है वो? Not equal to 75? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why? ना एटी हमरो गुटे average mean value दिया है ना. Only data is given. जदि से आ गुटे mean देई थांता ताले हमें कोई थांते one sample test.
One
बुझे लगे
sample
नहीं?
हाँ sir.
Because mean score other mean score is not given.
Sir एटू means काढ़ी हेबर नहीं.
Yes, काढ़ीबा.
हाँ ये 10टा plus
हाँ एथरे कौन आमे कौन value व्यवहार करिया? प्रथम होची एथरे को टेस्ट पड़ियो, Z टेस्ट ना T टेस्ट पड़ियो? ବର୍ଣ୍ଣାলী, ଆଲିସା, ନନ୍ଦିନୀ। First, you tell me which test is applicable in this question, T test or Z test? अरे तुम्हें
test.
हैं?
Jet test.
Why?
So 5% significance level.
ମୁଁ 2 ଦିନ ହେଲା ଏଇ ପାଠ ତାହେଲେ ପଢଉଛି ତ। ପ୍ରଥମ କଣ୍ଡିସନ ହଉଛି ଯେ which sample test will be applicable. What is your small sample test? What is your large sample test? What is the condition? ଯଦି sample size ଟା more than 30 ହେବ ତାହେଲେ କୋଉ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ହେବ? If your sample size is more than 30, then which test is applicable? अमूल्य,
Answer.
when sample size is large or greater than 30, which sample is applicable? Which test?
The jet test, sir.
That test is applicable. So in this
Sir.
question, which test is applicable?
This is the T test, sir.
The test. Why? The sample
10 to
size is less than 30.
10 answer.
ବର୍ଣ୍ଣାলী ବୁଝିହେଲା?
Yes, sir.
ବୁଝିଲା ତାହେଲେ କୋଉ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ହେଲା? ଟି ଟେଷ୍ଟ।
Yes, sir.
এইটা ମୁଁ ଲେଖିଲି ଟୁ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ। କାହିଁକି ଟୁ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ଲେଖିଲି? ଯେ ଯୋଉ ଡାଟା ଦେଇଛି ଡାଟାର ମିନ୍ ସ୍କୋର ଆମକୁ ଦେଇନାହିଁ। ଯଦି ଡାଟାର ମିନ୍ ସ୍କୋର ଦେଇଥାନ୍ତା ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ କହିଥାନ୍ତେ ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ ଏ ୱାନ୍ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ। ବୁଝିହେଲା କି ନାହିଁ? ତ ଆମେ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ ନେଇଥାନ୍ତେ କ'ଣ ନା ମ୍ୟୁ ଇକ୍ୱାଲ୍ ଟୁ 75, ମ୍ୟୁ ଲେସ୍ ଦେନ୍ ଅର୍ ଗ୍ରେଟର ଦେନ୍ 75। ଯଦି ସାମ୍ପୁଲ ଡାଟାଟା ଦେଇଥାନ୍ତା ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ୱାନ୍ ସାମ୍ପୁଲ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ନେଇଥାନ୍ତେ। ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ କି ନାହିଁ? ନା ବୁଝିପାରିଲନି? Because when you solve the problem, first is important which test is applicable and what is your hypothesis. এই দুইটা হচ্ছে মেন। যদি দুইটা ভুল হয়ে গেলা এন্টায়ার প্রসেস ভুল। তোমার ঠিক করতে भी ভুল। বুঝিপারছ? না বুঝিপারন? আরে ମୋ କଥା ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ବୁଝିପାରୁନ? হ্যালো, অমূল্য?
Sir, I understand, sir.
Understand, yes. So now solve the problem. ଯଦି କେହି ବୁଝିପାରୁନ ମତେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ପଚାର। ଏତିକି ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆସିଲା କି? ଏତିକି ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆସୁଛି? ଅମୂଲ୍ୟ, I am audible or not?
Yes, sir.
ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଏତିକି ଆସିଲା? ଅମୂଲ୍ୟ, ଆରେ ଏତେ ସମୟ କାହିଁକି ଲାଗୁଛି? ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଏତିକି ଆସିଲା କି ନା ନାଇଁ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣାଲି? ଅମୂଲ୍ୟ? ଅମୂଲ୍ୟ ଏତିକି ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆସିଲା?
हाँ सर।
ହଁ ତାପରେ କ'ଣ କରିବା? ମତେ ନ କହିଲେ କେମିତି ହବ? ତାପରେ then we have to calculate, compare the calculate value and the critical value. So what is your critical value now? टेबुलटा ଅଛି କି ନା ନାହିଁ?
मैं सामने रखी से काली स्क्रीनशॉट नहीं थिले
ଆଜି ନାହିଁ?
ना सर।
ହଉ ମୁଁ ଦେଖାଉଛି। ସେଇଟା ତ ହେଉଛି ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ। କୁଆଡ଼େ ଗଲା?
1.96 sir.
କୋଉଟା ଟେବୁଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ?
Oh sir, 5%.
କାହିଁକି 1.96 କାହିଁକି ହେଲା?
Sir, the table ରେ ଥିଲା।
ଦେଖିବା ଟେବୁଲଟା ଦେଖୁଛି ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍। ମୁଁ ଏଇଟାକୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ମତେ ଷ୍ଟପ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ, ନହେଲେ ସେଟା ଦୁଇଟା ଦେଖେଇବନି ତ। ଏଇଟା ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି କି ଏବେ?
आंसर पीपीटी टा शो होची सर।
ଏଇଟା ସହ ହେଲା ଏବେ?
ନା sir,
टेबुल नहीं हाँ टोटल शो होला सर।
ସହ ହେଲା। ଆମର ଏଥି ଟେବୁଲରେ ଆମେ କେମିତି କ'ଣ ବାହାର କରିବା?
5%.
ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ଅଫ୍ ଫ୍ରିଡମ୍। What is the degree of freedom?
Sir, ଟିକେ ବଡ କରନ୍ତୁ ସାଇଜ। ଛୋଟ ଛୋଟ।
What is the degree of freedom? ଆମ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମରେ what is the degree of freedom? Degree of freedom କ'ଣ ଫର୍ମୁଲା କ'ଣ? n-1 degree of freedom. What is your n value?
10
10.
10 minus 1 କେତେ? 9?
9
9. For your alpha level of significance?
5.
5%.
Yes sir,
हाँ
5%.
This table is a one sample test table. ଆମେ ଏଠୁ 2 sample ଏଟା କ'ଣ ଅଛି? ଆମର ଅଛି ସରି
Live.
one tail test. One tail test ମାନେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଗାର୍ଡ ଏଇଟା ଦେଇନି, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ରାଇଟ୍ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ସାଇଡରେ ଯୋଉ
Sir,
उड़ गए।
ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଫିଗରଟା ଦେଖ, ଏଇ ଫିଗର ଏଇଟା ଦେଇନି କି? এই ফিগরটা
हाँ
ব্ল্যাক
सर
এরিয়া দেইনি
sir,
ওয়ান সাইডেড মানে এটা হচ্ছে ওয়ান টেল টেস্ট র ডাটাটা ଦେଇଛି बट इन हियर वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द टोटल टेस्ट ର ଡାଟାର କ୍ୟାଲକୁଲେସନ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ତ ଆମେ କ'ଣ କରିବ ନା ଯୋଉ ଆଲଫା ଇକ୍ୱାଲ ଟୁ 5% ଦେଇଛି ସେଟାକୁ ଇକ୍ୱାଲ ଡିଭାଇଡ ବାଇ 2 କରିଦେବ ତାହେଲେ କେତେ ହେବ ଯୋଉ ଆଲଫାଟା ଦେଇଛି 0.5
फाइव
5% because this
one
is a
point.
this table is a one tail test table तो ଆମକୁ ଏଟାକୁ ଟୁ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ର ଡାଟା ନେଇକି ବାହାର କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ କେମିତି ବାହାର କରିବ ନା ଆଲଫାଟାକୁ ବାଇ 2 କରିଦେବ ତାହେଲେ କେତେ ଆସିଲା
1.3.
0.025
Hmm.
yes or no
1.5.
0.05 by 2 କେତେ ଆସିବ
हम्म,
0.05 by 2 କେତେ ଆସିବ
By 2.25 actually, sir.
0.2 ନା 0.025 5% ମାନେ ହଉଛି 0.05
डिवाइडेड बाय सर
2.
ହଁ ତାହେଲେ 0.025 ଆସିବନି
हाँ
Hmm.
आसियो सर
ହଁ ଏ ଦେଖ 0.025 ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ କୋଉଠି ଦେଖ
Oh,
ଏଇଠି ଅଛି
80, sir.
ଅଛି ନା ନାହିଁ
Sir.
କରେସ୍ପଣ୍ଡିଂ 9 କେତେ ଆସିଲା ଏଇ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁଟା
2.262.
ବୁଝିହେଲା ନାହିଁ
हाँ सर
Sir.
କନସେପ୍ଟ ବୁଝିବା ପାଇଁ ହିଁ ମୁଁ ଦେଇଛି ଏଇଟାକୁ କନସେପ୍ଟ ବୁଝିହେଲା କାହିଁକି ନା ତମେ ଯଦି ଶୁଣ ଯେତେ ବି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଆସୁ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ତମେ ଆଗ ଦେଖିବ ଯେ ଡାଟା କ'ଣ ଦେଇଛି ଡାଟା ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମେ ଯିବା whether it is two tail test or one tail test ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ଫାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ରାଇଟେରିଆ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ
Sir.
then accordingly you prepare the hypothesis କାହିଁକି ନା ଆଉ ସବୁ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ସେମ୍ ଅଛି ସେଇ ଜେଡ୍ ଟି ଫର୍ମୁଲା ୟୁଜ୍ କରିବ or ଟି ଜେଡ୍ ଫର୍ମୁଲା ୟୁଜ୍ କରିବ ସେଥିରେ କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସେକେଣ୍ଡରେ ହଉଛି ଏଇ ଯୋଉ କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଟେବୁଲେଟେଡ୍ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆଇଦର ଏଇଟା ଯେ ଟୁ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ or ୱାନ୍ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ତାରି ଅନୁସାରେ ବାହାରିବ ଯଦି ୱାନ୍ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା ତାହେଲେ ଏଇ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁଟା ବାହାରିଥାନ୍ତା 1.8
1.833
ଯେହେତୁ ଟୁ ଟେଲ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ବାଇ 2 କରିକି ଆମେ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବାହାର କରିଦେ 2.262 ଏତିକି କ୍ଲିୟର
262
ହେଲା ଏତିକି କ୍ଲିୟର ହେଲା
हम्म
ହଁ ତାହେଲେ ଆମର ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ କ'ଣ କରିବା ସେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ବୁଝାଅ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କେତେ ବାହାରିଛି ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ
आंसर वैल्यू बाहरतिला 0
Minus
ମାଇନସ୍
0.315.
ହଁ 315 ତ -315 ଆଉ ଏଇଟାକୁ କମ୍ପେୟାର କରିବା 2.262 କମ୍ପେୟାର କରିବା ହ୍ୱାଟ ଇଜ ଦ କମ୍ପାରିଜନ ରୁଲ ଆଇଦର ମାଇନସ୍ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆମେ ନେଇକି ବାହାର କରିବା ଅର୍ ପଜିଟିଭ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ନେଇକି ବାହାର କରିବା
Sir.
ଯୋଉଟା ଗୋଟେ ସପୋଜ ୟୁ ଟେକ୍ ପଜିଟିଭ 0.315 କ'ଣ ଆମ କଣ୍ଡିସନ କ'ଣ କହିଛି if 0.315
Greater.
greater than the calculated value
Null.
then hypothesis is
Null.
null reject accepted
Yes.
now what is this now this value is less than 0.315 is less than 2.212 na nahi 2.262
Yes, sir.
then hypothesis is rejected or not
Yes, sir.
so hypothesis rejected means conclusion କ'ଣ ହବ there is a difference yes or no
Yes.
there is a difference ବୁଝିହେଲା କି ନାହିଁ ବୁଝିପାରିଲ କି ନାହିଁ
Sir, exam ରେ ପଢିଲେ ଏ ଚାର୍ଟ ଟା ଦେବେ କି exam
ହଁ
ରେ?
ହଁ ହଁ 100% ନଦେଲେ କେମିତି କରିବ ଏଇ ଚାର୍ଟର ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆଇଦର ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ସେ ଲେଖିଦେଇଥିବେ ନହେଲେ ଚାର୍ଟଟା ଦେଇଥିବେ ସେ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁରେ କହିବେ କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ 2.262 ଆଇଦର ଲେଖିଥିବେ ନହେଲେ ତୁମକୁ ଚାର୍ଟଟା ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ କରାଯିବ ହେଲା ତେଣୁ ଆଜିକାଲି ତମ ପିଲାଙ୍କର ସୁବିଧା ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ ଲେଖି ଦେଉଛନ୍ତି ବ୍ରାକେଟେଡ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଚାର୍ଟ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବି ଯେତିକି ଏ କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବି ଯେତିକି ଆଉ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦଉନାହାନ୍ତି ଆମେ ସମୟରେ ଆମେ ଚାର୍ଟରେ ଖୋଜି ଖୋଜି ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବାହାର କରୁଛୁ ସେଥିରେ ଲେଖି ଦଉନଥିଲେ ଏବେ ପିଲାଙ୍କ ସୁବିଧା ପାଇଁ ଆମେ କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଦେଇଦେବୁ ବୁଝିହେଲା ଏବେ ସ୍ଲାଇଡ୍ ଦେଖାଗଲା ସ୍ଲାଇଡ୍ ଦେଖାଉ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି
ତ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖାଉଛି।
ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି। ଏବେ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖାଗଲା।
ସ୍ଲାଇଡ।
ଦେଖାଗଲା।
यस सर।
ତ ଏବେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ ବୁଝିହେଲା ତ?
यस सर।
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ ମୁଁ ସଲ୍ଭ କରୁଛି, ତାପରେ ମୁଁ ଏଫ୍ ଟେଷ୍ଟ କରିବି, ଆଉ ଏତେ ଯିବେନି। ତମକୁ ମୁଁ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ କିଛି ଦେଇଦେବି, ତମେ ସଲ୍ଭ କରିବ ହେଲା।
यस सर।
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ ଦଉଛି। This is the question. A researcher want to compare the average daily study hours of students from two different colleges, colleges A, colleges B. The sample data is given. Sample data is given. At the 5% level of significance, is there a significant difference in the average study hours between the two colleges? So first you tell me this question. এই question রে data কোন ଦେଇଛି? First you tell me what is the data. It is visible.
यस सर।
So what data is given? कौन ଦେଇଛି? କେବଳ କଲେଜ ଡାଟା ଦେଇଛି, ସାମ୍ପଲ ଡାଟା ଦେଇଛି, ଆଉ କିଛି ଦେଇଛି କି?
ନା सर, ए एंड बी ग्रुप ଦିଟାର ଇଏ
ଦିଟା
ଦେଇଛି।
ଡାଟା ଦେଇଛି, ଆଉ ଖାଲି ଦେଇଛି ଲେଭେଲ ଅଫ ସିଗ୍ନିଫିକେନ୍ସ, ଆଉ କିଛି ଦେଇନାହିଁ।
ନା।
That means this is a two tail test. ତାମାନେ ଆମର ଆସିବ କଣ ନା μ1 equal to μ2, ଯୋଉ ଆମେ ଷ୍ଟେଟମେଣ୍ଟ ଆମେ ନେଇଥିବେ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍,
यस सर।
ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ କୋଉଟା ଆସିବ? two tail test ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ କୋଉଠି ଲେଖିଥିଲି? এটা হাইপোথেସିସ୍ হবে କି ନାହିଁ?
V1।
μ1 equal to μ2, μ1 not equal to μ2. This is a hypothesis or not?
यस सर।
Okay. Now what you have to find out in here? कौन value बाहर करबी? କୋଉ ଫର୍ମୁଲା applicable ହବ? Which formula is applicable? This formula is applicable or not? yes or no? আরে এই ফর্মুলা অ্যাপ্লিকেবল হবে কি নাই? টি টেস্ট, দিস ইজ টি টেস্ট ভ্যালু, জেড টেস্ট ভ্যালু।
ଦିଟା ସାମ୍ପଲ ଅଛି, ଟି ଟେଷ୍ଟ ହବ
হ্যাঁ, কাইকি স্যাম্পলের ভ্যালু লেস দেন 30 ଅଛି।
Yes, sir, less than 30.
যদি গ্রেটার দেন 30 থাকতো তাহলে জেড টেস্ট থাকতো।
J test.
হ্যাঁ, so now you find out the value x1 bar, x2 bar, standard deviation, n1 and n2. n1 and n2 কেতে? n1 কেতে ଅଛି? 1 2 3 4
ଆଜ୍ଞା
5 6 7. sample size for sample data কলেজ এ 7, কলেজ বি রে কেতে ଅଛି? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. so n1 equal to 7, n2 equal to 8. It is given or not? sample n1 n2. ପ୍ରଥମେ ୟାର ମିନ୍ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବାହାର କର ଦିଟାର, ଆଉ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡ ଡେଭିଏସନ୍ ଦିଟାର ବାହାର କର। ମିନ୍ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ କେତେ ଆସିଲା ବାହାର କଲ କି?
The N1 ର 3.4
N1 ଆସିଲା 3.4 ଓକେ। N1 এটা ଆସିଲା 3.4 N4 ରେ N2 ରେ
N2 5.25
5.25 standard deviation
सर बाहर पूछू
back करो। ଏତିକି ଆସିଲା କି? କେତେ ଆସିଲା ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ?
3.97 something ଆସିଥିଲା।
କୋଉଟା ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ?
ହୁଁ
3.9।
ହୁଁ। $3.97।
ମାଇନସ୍ ନା ପ୍ଲସ୍? Is it minus or plus?
Minus, sir.
So now how to calculate the value? Now what we will do? Now we have to compare with your critical path or not? Yes or no? What is your degree of freedom? What is your degree of freedom in here? I am audible or not? Amulya.
Sir, two are there, no?
N1 and N2?
Yes, sir, N1 and N2.
And then how can you find what degree of freedom?
N-1,
n minus 1
n
3.2
minus 1 କେମିତି ହବ? ଆମେ ଉଭୟ ଦିଟା 7 8 7 15 ମିଶି ଦେଲେ ହବ ନାହିଁ। So we have to find out the that is degree of freedom. ଆମର ଏଇ ସିଗ୍ମା 1 ସ୍କୋୟାର କେତେ ଆସିଛି? ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡ ଡିଭିଜନ 1 ତାର ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ କେତେ ଆସିଛି?
0.7
0.56
0.56
25
ଆମର ସିଗ୍ମା 1 ସ୍କୋୟାର ବାଇ n1 ଟା କେତେ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ଆସିଛି?
ସାର୍ 0.75
ଆଉ ତାପରେ ତା ପରଟା
କହିଲେ ସାର୍ 5625 ଆସୁଛି।
ଏଇଠି ତୁମେ
ସିଗ୍ମା
ଫର୍ମୁଲାଟା ହଉଛି କେମିତି ଲେଖିବେ ଏଟାକୁ?
ସିଗ୍ମା ସ୍କୋୟାର ର ଆନ୍ସର ଟା ଆସିଲା
ନାଇଁ
0.5625
ସିଗ୍ମା ସ୍କୋୟାର ସିଗ୍ମା 1 ସ୍କୋୟାର ବାଇ n1 ର ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ କେତେ ଆସୁଛି?
n1 ର ଆପଣ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ସାର୍
ନାଇଁ ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ଅଫ୍ ଫ୍ରିଡମ୍ କେମିତି ବାହାରିବ ମୁଁ ତୁମକୁ କହୁଛି ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍। ମୋତେ ଫର୍ମୁଲା ଲେଖିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ। ଏଇ ଫର୍ମୁଲାକୁ ୟୁଜ କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ। ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଲେଖୁଛି। degree of freedom is equal to ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍। ଆମର n1 ଟା କେତେ ଅଛି କି? n1 6 or 7?
7
n1 7 ନାଇଁ ବାଇ n minus 1 ଆଉ କେତେ ହେବ? 6 ଆସିବ ବାଇ n minus 1
6
ବାଇ n minus 1 এইটা ଆସିବ বাই n minus 2 না বাই n minus 1 তার মানে এটা হচ্ছে n minus 1 n1 minus 1 n2 minus 1 ওকে n1 minus 1 n2 minus 1 এইটা হচ্ছে ফর্মুলা ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম পাଇବା ପାଇଁ ହେଲେ
सर देखा जाऊनी।
ଦେଖାଯାଉନି ବଡ ବଡ ଦେଖାଗଲା ସବୁ ଦେଖାଗଲା
हाँ सर।
this is the formula to find out the degree of freedom ତା degree of freedom ଆସିବ କେତେ ନା ତ କ୍ୟାଲକୁଲେସନ କଲେ ଆସିବ କ୍ୟାଲକୁଲେସନ କଲେ କେତେ ଆସୁଛି କରି ନାହିଁ ଏତିକି ଆସୁଛି 12 12 ଆସିଲା you calculate later on you calculate value ଆସିଲା 12 ହେଲା
ओके सर।
ହଁ ଦେଖିବ ଠିକ ଅଛି କି ନାହିଁ ସପୋଜ 12 ଆସିଲା
यस
ତାହେଲେ
सर।
12 ଆସିଲେ ଆମେ କେତେ କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବାହାର କରିବା ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଟେବୁଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ମତେ କୋଉ ଟେବୁଲରୁ କେତେ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ବାହାରିବ
12 minus 1
ହଁ
11।
ହଁ ଆଉ 11 କାହିଁକି ହବ ବା ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ଅଫ ଫ୍ରିଡମ 12 ବାହାରିଲା
ओके सर सॉरी 12।
ହଁ,
सर
ତାହେଲେ
अलग
12 ହଁ ତାହେଲେ କେତେ ଭ୍ୟାଲୁ ହବ
12 रो
12
चार्ट देखे को चार्ट
ହଁ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଚାର୍ଟ ଦେଖିନି କି
रो तो सर क्लिक कर 12।
ଏଠି ଦେଖ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି
Yes, sir. 12.
12 କେତେ ଆସିବ value?
12. 5%.
5%.
Uh, 3.055.
କେତେ
3.055.
କାହିଁକି?
So, sorry, 5%.
ହୁଁ
So,
First,
sir,
first you have to select that this is a two tail test or one tail test. Two tail माने 5% माने 0.025.
yes, sir.
एटा केते होला value? 2.179.
Mm.
Yes or no?
Test.
2.179 or not? अरे हाँ कि ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir. ताले we compare it now. केते आछी? Now we compare. कौन थिला? एटू बाहर जे 0.3.9. 3.9 is greater than 2.17 or not? अरे yes or no? Hello? I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
3.9 is greater than 2.17 implies the hypothesis is rejected. That means there is a significant difference. बुझला? बुझेला कि नहीं? अमूल्य
हाँ सर बुझिले सर।
बुझेला तो
हाँ
तो
सर।
এই ভলিয়া क्वेश्चन আসলে এমতি সলভ করিব। প্রথমে
আজ্ঞା।
দেখো যে ওয়ান টেল টেস্ট ও টু টেল টেस्ट
ହୁଁ
रे आसीबो हमरो कोउ टेस्ट एप्लीकेबल जेट टेस्ट और टी टेस्ट
टी टेस्ट
तापर
हाँ सर।
कैलकुलेशन बाहर कला परे डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम बाहर करिवो जदि टू मीन देइथिबो तार ता वैल्यूटा एमती बाहरिवो डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम एंड यू अप्लाई दैट चार्ट एंड विथ द टेक दैट इज यस और नो
बाय टू यस सर।
राइट so I am submitting I am giving 5 to 10 question I will send it next class I will start here that is F
गेट रे गाटा एंट्री करिन त लेटरटा नउछ ताउडे
okay
Yes, sir.
evening class में आज नेबिनी कल नेबी
Okay.
थैंक यू
Thank you, sir.